Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Transnistria. What is the breakaway state, why does it matter, and what part can it play in the Russo-Ukrainian war? So let's start with where it is. Transnistria is a border region between Moldova and Ukraine. It has a high proportion of Russians and Ukrainians living in it, although it does have a sizable Moldovan minority. Important when talking about Moldovans in general is the fact that many Moldovans consider themselves Romanian. This is important because at the beginning of its existence as an independent state in 1991, Moldova had a lot of pro-Romanian sentiment and a lot of pro-Russian sentiment. This was because the east of the country had large amounts of Russian and Ukrainians, and they wanted to stay with Russia and Ukraine. However, the west of the country, particularly in big cities such as the capital Chisinau, wanted to join Romania. Thus, Moldova was split before it even began. A quick war in 1991, sometimes called the Transnistria War and sometimes the Russo-Moldovan War, resulted in a breakaway region called Transnistria. Transnistria was sort of a Russian-backed breakaway state, but it was not recognized by anyone, not Russia, not Moldova, not anyone. Moldova was internationally recognized as owning Transnistria. However, Transnistria became a de facto state, as Moldova couldn't influence Transnistrian policies. Additionally, Russia was allowed to have peacekeeping troops in the region to police it and make sure that the conflict didn't stir back up, which is all the more important given recent events. This is because the General Staff of the Russian Army stated that Russian troops in Transnistria are on full alert after some explosions in Transnistria in recent days. Additionally, Moldova's breakaway Transnistria had ordered a general mobilization of their population. Clearly, something is afoot. It seems that the Transnistrian military and leadership have decided that they want to join Russia, and they always have. However, Putin has known that he will face sanctions if he either recognized them or incorporated them into Russia. But he already is facing sanctions, so he's not actually going to be losing that much more, or so it seems. So let's go back a bit. How did we get here? Well, first off, if you look at a map of the Romanian ethnicities, you'll notice a large concentration of ethnically Moldovan or Romanians in the west, Russians and Ukrainians in the east, and Gagauzans, or as they are known, in the south. This means that there are effectively three different sections of the country, as Russians and Ukrainians in Moldova usually work together in terms of politics. So in 2014, back when there was legislative elections in Romania, there was a groundbreaking event. This was that the Communist Party in Romania no longer was the largest party. And this was huge. This was huge because the Communist Party, since Moldova's inception as a nation, had always been the largest, and therefore the West had rightly seen it as pro-Russian. However, this was superseded by the Socialist Party, which was also pro-Russian. The Socialist Party then went on to continue to win. In the 2016 presidential elections, the Socialist Party of Moldova candidate Igor Dodon received 52% of the vote in the second round of the presidential elections, against Maya Sandu of the more pro-Western bloc received 48%. But this was a huge uptick in pro-Western sentiment, which culminated in 2019 in the Moldovan parliamentary elections, when the Communist Party dropped out of parliament altogether. Additionally, the Socialist Party only managed to win 31% of the vote, while the pro-Western party led by Maya Sandu won 27%. However, it was not a pro-Western party led by Sandu. It was rather a coalition of two different pro-Western parties. A coalition was quickly formed. However, it was very unstable, and the coalition collapsed in June, after having elections only in February. This necessitated a constitutional crisis. However, everyone agreed. General elections were on the way, so clearly there must be some solution. And solution there was. with Maya Sandu defeating Igor Dodon in the second round of the November 2020 presidential elections with 58% of the vote. And this was very important because it showcased the divisions in Moldova all the more. While Sandu won large majorities in Chisinau, the capital, and central Moldova and western Moldova, especially dominating in the Moldovan diaspora or Moldovans living abroad, Igor Dodon still maintained huge majorities in the east and the south. In Gagauzia, he managed to win 80% of the vote, while Transnistria, he was able to win 62%. Thus, it turned out that while Moldova might have a pro-Western president, Moldova still had a large pro-Russian enclave. However, this 2021 had a parliamentary election in Moldova, and originally it wasn't exactly clear who would win. The ACLUM bloc, led by Maya Sandu, collapsed between the PAS bloc and the PPDA bloc. However, the PAS bloc led by Sandu proved to be the more resilient and quickly snatched up many of the other party's voters. Additionally, the party that had for the longest time been the main opposition to the socialists and communists, the Democratic Party, which is a social democratic party, collapsed almost immediately, dropping from an estimated 25% of the vote in April to under 15% by July. Thus, it was clear there would be a two-horse race to the finish. As the PAS bloc led by Sandu surged, the communists and socialists combined forces and became a new bloc. However, this bloc was formed too little, too late, because when it was formed in April, Sandu's party had already opened up a stunning lead, projected to get around 45% of the vote. And thus, in the elections of 11 July 2021, the Moldovan people voted. And vote they did, because Maya Sandu's party won 53% of the vote, as opposed to the bloc of communists and socialists winning only 27%, and a smaller pro-Russian party winning only 6%. Thus, Moldova now had a pro-Western president and a huge pro-Western majority in its parliament. But once again, there was a sizable difference between the results of Moldova as a whole and the results in Transnistria. And so, as Russia looked on with increasing worries, as pro-Western politicians won in both Ukraine and Moldova, Russia needed to do something. So they invaded Ukraine, and now it seems they will invade Moldova. When Russia most likely invades Moldova in the coming weeks, in some sort of special operation designed to secure Transnistria and the people living there, it won't be a surprise. Not only have the Transnistrian government already proclaimed general mobilization, and the Russians proclaimed that they are going to stabilize Transnistria if it doesn't stabilize itself soon, but also Russia media has already been claiming things such as that the Moldovans are genociding the Transnistrians, who in this case are supposed to be Russians. Never mind the fact that in Transnistria itself, Russians don't even make up a majority of the population. The Transnistrian population is very complicated. It has an almost three-way split. By ethnic composition, the population of Transnistria is currently 29% Russian, 28% Moldovan, and 23% Ukrainian, with other populations making up the rest. Thus, the Russian and Moldovan and Ukrainian segments all have slightly under a third of the population. So when Russian media claims that Russians are being genocided or attacked, and clearly the majority of people in Transnistria went to unite Russia, that is obviously not true, considering that 23% of, aka the Ukrainians, already are at war with the 29% Russians. So it seems that even in Transnistria itself, long a communist bastion of independence and the last relic of the former Soviet Union, it seems that even there, people are now deciding that they do not want to be part of Russia. And Russia sees their influence fading, so they have decided to attack. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.